This is a tutorial on how to Loctite and lubricate your balisong. I'm making this tutorial because I get a lot of questions on how to do this properly, and I see it come up in a lot of forums from people who are kind of new to flipping. To get started, the tools you're going to need are a toothbrush or some type of brush that's going to be used to get the gunk off the screws when you take them out. You're going to need a Torx driver. That's to get the screws out of the pivots. Most balisongs are a size 8. You're going to need blue Loctite. Don't get red Loctite. I get a question a lot about which Loctite to use. Red Loctite actually permanently bonds the screw to the metal or whatever surface it's on. So to remove it, you actually have to use extreme heat, and it's extremely hard. Blue Loctite will get the job done, and if you do need to remove it, it's not hard. You can break the lock just with a little force from a Torx wrench. So definitely stick with blue Loctite. You're also going to need some Q-tips to help get inside the pivots when you clean them out. You can also use paper towels like rolled up into a little like a fine tip, and you'll need some rubbing alcohol to kind of break off the gunk off the screws. Some people use some other chemicals as well, cleaning chemicals, but I tend to just stick with alcohol. Rubbing alcohol has worked for me. To get started, you're going to firstly remove the screws from your balisong with your Torx driver. And then after you get them out, you'll see they're going to have a lot of black stuff on them or some gunk on them. So what you'll do is you'll take the screws after they're removed and put them into some rubbing alcohol. I usually just pour some in the cap, or pour some, just a little shallow depth, and place the screws in there. I let them soak for a little bit because it kind of helps break down all the stuff that's on it. As you see, if you put it inside the inside rubbing alcohol, you'll see stuff break off almost immediately. Let it sit there for maybe 5-10 minutes, and after it's soaked, what you'll do is you'll grab the screws and use your toothbrush. Put a little bit of alcohol on the end of the toothbrush and just gently brush away all the excess gunk and debris that's inside the screw threads. You want to make sure it's really clean, because Loctite doesn't bond well if there's a lot of junk between it and what it's trying to adhere to. After you get this stuff off, use your paper towel or a cloth and just dry off the rubbing alcohol. You want to make sure there's no remaining rubbing alcohol left, and your screw should look like this. It should look perfectly clean after you're done brushing it off. It should not have anything on it. If there is anything on it left over, you can use a toothpick to kind of get between the threads and get rid of anything that's still remaining. After you clean off the screws, you're going to want to clean inside the pivots. There's still stuff left inside the pivots. So what I usually do is I take a Q-tip, dip it in alcohol, and I just kind of gently drive it inside there, and just twirl it around a little bit, and you're going to see a lot of black stuff's going to come out. You want to make sure that all that gunk and the grime that gets caught in there after use is removed. And you want to also make sure that you get rid of anything remaining and dry off any remaining alcohol. I usually just take a piece of paper towel and twist it into a thin piece and get it in there to dry it off. So once you do that, you can take the screws and apply your Loctite. Make sure that the screws are completely dried off with any alcohol or anything that's on it. When you use Loctite, you don't need a whole lot. You just put it at the end, the last end threads. You don't need to soak the whole screw. If you have any excess, you can just dab it off with some paper towel. That's all you need. Just a couple threads, maybe a few threads, just a very light amount. It shouldn't be overflowing when you put the screw back into the balisong. If it's like that, you need to take it out and remove it, because if there's too much, it's not gonna actually work properly, and it might actually flow over and gunk up the rest of your knife. Now, when you put the screws back in after the Loctite's been put them in very gently. As you can see, they don't always go right in, so you have to kind of be very cautious. You don't want to force the screw in. You want to carefully twist in and kind of back it back out to make sure that it doesn't get jammed. It should go in naturally. If you have to use a lot of force, then you need to stop, because you don't want to risk stripping the screw. Now, to lock it down, what you'll do is you'll tighten it all the way until it's the handle won't move freely, and then you'll back it off just a little bit until it moves. That's kind of the level of play that I like. You can kind of mess around with it, but generally that's how I do it. I just go until it's all the way tight where the handle is not moving freely, and then I just back it off a little bit. As far as lubrication, you can use Blue Lube. I use mineral oil just because it's easy, it's cheap, it's very readily available. You can use Miltec, you can use anything. But basically, when you apply it, you just apply a small drop, let it work itself into the pivots. Make sure it gets in there, and just move it around a little bit so that the lubrication that you're using gets into the pivots, and wipe off any excess. And then after that, what you'll do is just make sure that you leave the balisong for at least 24 hours, because the Loctite does take 24 hours to cure, and I have actually used a balisong before the 24 hours was up and the threads came off. So make sure you're patient and just wait the 24 hours or maybe a little bit more to make sure that the thread lock settles in. And then after that, I've used my balisong heavily for at least 6 months, and it's lasted. So before it needed any other adjustment. So that's pretty much how to do it. If you have any questions, definitely send me a message or leave a comment, and I'll get to you. Thanks for watching.